All right, out there all, we've been joined tonight, well, Nikki and myself have been joined tonight by Karl and Jen from Divine Ascension. How are you?
Very well.
Hey, how you going? Good.
Very good to have you on board. It's been quite a while since we've spoken to Divine Ascension. I think the last time we chatted to you, Karl, was in 2015, I think.
Yep. And I was clean shaven.
Yeah, it's a while ago too. That video is out there somewhere. I'm not sure where, but it's somewhere. I've got it on a hard drive. So just for those who don't know you both, please introduce yourselves properly and your role within the band.
Sure. Do you want to go first, Karl?
I guess it's your turn, Jen.
All right, handball. I'm Jen, and Divine Ascension, we are a progressive melodic metal band, and we're based in Melbourne. And over to you, Karl. What do you do in the band? I'm the vocalist, by the way.
Me. Well, we've established that I create stupid memes for our social media. But other than that, I play a bit of guitar. And I'm basically having a bit of a race with Jason on whose beard can grow longer.
I know who's got that race won, mate.
He'd have to turn the camera the other way so that he could fit the whole beard.
Karl, we need you to start with the bicycle mow, the gelled mow.
It doesn't go that way.
It's going to get very uncomfortable very quick. You keep doing those first.
All right, I'm going to keep doing that for the next 30 minutes.
All right, cool. When you start pulling it out, let us know.
Okay, you can stroke the imaginary mow and I'll stroke my imaginary evil cat.
There we go, a little bit.
Oh, wow. All right, moving on. Now, as we said, the last time we had Divine Ascension was back at our very, very old studio in 2015 on the Liberator album cycle. It's now 2020. So what have you been up to for the last 5 years, just in a sort of condensed nutshell?
Oh, we wrote another album.
Yeah.
Europe.
Oh, yeah, we did that too. Yeah.
Europe got kicked out of Europe.
Yeah, we went to Europe.
We flew back.
Let's contemplate that for a moment. We've got so many sayings from our trip to Europe. Actually, like it's an ongoing. There's lots of things that are ongoing jokes, but we did a massive 6-week kind of tour around Europe, supporting Stradivarius, which was amazing, and Glory Hammer as well. So we shared a bus with Glory Hammer. That was interesting. We did some disco parties from place to place. With the coloured lights in the bus, which were heaps of fun. And then when we came home to Oz, we began writing The Uncovering, which is our latest album, and we've just also released a clip for that. So if that's one of your questions, you can stop me talking now because I can just keep talking. Karl, do you want to add anything from
I will ask the question because obviously I do want to talk about The Uncovering, but what timeline are we talking? How long ago was it that you were touring Europe?
2015. So it was in 2015. Yeah, we did Australia. We did a few Australian shows.
And then Blind Guardian?
Was that with Blind Guardian?
Yeah.
No, that was separate. So
okay.
We supported Blind Guardian for 2 shows. We kind of tagged it in the kind of grander scheme, but it was kind of our own Australian tour. So we played, basically the same cities. But Blind Guardian was 2 shows, Melbourne and Sydney. So we kind of did that in the same year. And then we went to Europe later that year.
So you were touring Europe in 2015?
Yep.
Right at the end of 2015, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it finished beginning of November from memory. So it was basically October we were touring, October, beginning of November, I think.
Yeah, we interviewed you sort of mid to the second third of the year, and you were going after that. So yeah. I can't remember when Blind Guardian was, but I remember the Australian tour was earlier in the year. I think it was around the first school holidays, so that like kind of April school holiday, I think. So yeah, first quarter of the year. Yeah, big year for us. And then we got home and basically relaxed because for 5 years.
It's actually quite funny because we'd started writing straight away, and we had some solid stuff like within a year. It was pretty much the album was written, but then to go into the studio to finish up everything. We kept getting delays. Generally, drums start in school holidays because mostly everyone in the band is a school teacher except for me. So everything happens generally in school holidays. So we kind of have to wait till the next break, like in work, to be able to record and go in the studio. So sometimes like our normal lives outside of Divine Ascension, they kind of get in the way of being able to, do a solid session in the studio.
I think we also found when we came back from that tour, it was a big thing. So we did the Australian tour at the beginning of the year, not knowing that we were going to be touring Europe later in the year. So, we made work arrangements, took leave, that kind of stuff. Then we got Blind Guardian. And then we got, all right, well, now we take 6 weeks off to go over to Europe. It's a big hit financially and mentally, work-wise. Some of us had to find work when we came back. So,
Oh, yeah, that was it. Yeah, that happened too.
And then Christmas, and then you have that whole Christmas holiday break, and, you come back and, it was a big year.
In all of that, at what point did you get signed to the Swedish record label? Before. Was that while you were touring Europe, or was that afterwards, or?
Before.
2014.
Before.
I think it was 2014.
So did they bring you over to Europe? Is it the label that took you over to Europe?
Yeah, well, they were involved.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We had management at the time as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had European management at the time because we wanted to see if we could, tour somewhere, Europe or Asia or America or whatever. We thought Liberator was quite a solid album for a second album, and so it was worth us kind of having management and really going for gold at that point. So
was that what got you noticed, the second album, Liberator? Is that where things changed for you guys?
I think so. I think what do you think, Karl? I think Liberator for touring, absolutely.
The European market for sure. Not so much the Japanese market. The Japanese, we had a Japan record label sign us for our first album.
Oh, right, okay.
As the Truth Appears, and that did a lot better over there. Liberator really didn't do much over there. So, if you focus for just that kind of different continents, Europe, absolutely. Liberator and that whole kind of album did us really, really well.
So if you're jumping forward, because you released The Uncovering in 2018, that's correct, I believe 2018 was late 2018?
Yeah.
Yep.
So where did that have a particular region where it went better or not better? Was it a more uniform thing, or what was the general overall response? How did that go?
I don't know. It's a mixture, I guess. Online, because I do a lot of the, social media and stuff behind the scenes, I look at all the different stats. Like when we compare it on things like Spotify and all those kinds of channels, it seems to be up there with Liberator.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know about you, Jen. I found there was a lot less reviews and a lot less, advertisement around it. So from that point of view, it seemed to have not been received as well. But I don't know if that's a shift in the industry since we released Liberator. I don't know if that's...
It's hard to say because also, if we're kind of going back on a timeline, we released in 2018. Vocals were recorded by probably November 2017. Drums were recorded in January 2017. It took that long to get the album ready. So I think there actually was a bit of a shift in the music industry between Liberator and The Uncovering. And then when we released The Uncovering, we did a video clip straight away, but we didn't release it at the same time because we didn't have any shows lined up in particular at that time. Lots of things, I think, contribute to not being able to tour. But because we didn't have any shows lined up, that could have been a contributing fact that we weren't. Yeah. It's hard to say, really, but it really felt different. That's all we could really tell, that it felt different from the Liberator release. Maybe there was a higher expectation. Don't know. But it just felt different. It didn't feel as successful as what we wanted it to be.
I don't know about you, Jen, but I felt tired is probably the word. We did Liberator recording, and we recorded a lot of it ourselves, with the exception of drums and vocals. So we did a lot of it ourselves. So, you know, years before Liberator was even released, we were working behind the scenes, basically after hours every weekend. We release Liberator, then we do this Australian tour, then we do this European tour, come back and look for work for some of us, you know, go through the whole Christmas thing. Then we're writing back in the studio. We released The Uncovering. And again, it's from an outsider's perspective, it looks like we were doing nothing, but there was all these different things happening behind the scenes. And then by the time The Uncovering came out, we kind of just went, it's like a bit of it's done. And I don't know, again, being late in the year, we were going into Christmas. And
it was a late release, so it was like November or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be earlier, but, you know, there were other things that cropped up in the way, and just delayed it and was a bit more, you know, added to that being tired at the end.
Yeah.
We went through a fair bit while you were recording it because the keyboard left. You had to go back and revisit a lot of the stuff, didn't you? So it wasn't like you just sort of had the stuff. You went and basically I don't know if you rewrote, but you definitely re-imaged these things.
We reimagined it.
Yeah.
Because we've been
reimagined and rewrote, actually.
Okay.
So, jumped on and, it was
really
big.
hard to do. You've heard something so many times and you're so used to it, then to go back and say, all right, well, I'm not going to listen to it like that anymore and do something different. That took a long time in itself.
See, one of my favourite tracks on The Uncovering, and I mean this as a compliment, I love it all, but one of my favourite tracks features a guest vocal.
What was it?
One of my favourite tracks features a guest vocalist being Tom England from Evergrey. So I want to know what happened there. Did you meet him while you were in Europe? How did this collaboration form? Like, where did that come from? And it really works. But Jen, you're amazing, and I love everything you sing on. But that particular track, I actually am quite drawn to.
Yeah, well, that track, Karl's about to speak. So do you want to? I'll just talk, and you can pretend you're talking.
Sure, let's do that.
no, and you go. You.
No, I'm genuinely interested in the collaboration. Like, did you meet him while you were touring Europe? How did you come across this guy? Where was the connection? Where did you just go, hey, why don't you just keep vocals on my track?
It was more a choice. So we talked about vocalists and whether we wanted to just grab someone locally for also the ease of touring, when we wanted to do Australian shows and stuff. And then we just we talked about it and went, well, Jason, our bass player, does a lot of vocals live. Yeah. So it doesn't actually really matter. So I talked to Jason and said, why don't you do it? And Jason's like, no way. I'm like, dude, why? You do it live. Like,
you're saying no?
Like, nah. Yeah, no way. No way. We literally just we talked about what vocalists we really loved in terms of style wise and what might fit really well, and then we just contacted him and said, hey, this is what we got. These are, we had everything written already, so the vocal lines, I recorded what his parts and said, here's what I have in mind. And then he put his own little flair on it. And it was very cool, actually, because what he did was a little bit different. So I went back into the studio and recorded again.
Really?
Because I had something down and then I could hear something else when he sent it back to me, and I just went, okay, I've got it. I know what's going on with this track now and what's going to take it to the next level. And in having his vocals on the track to work with, I felt like I got something different out of my vocal. I don't know whether it sounds like it, but in the studio I had a moment where I went, yeah, there it is.
Okay, so you were never face-to-face. It was done remotely.
Yeah.
Like, as I said, that song is personally one of my favourite songs on the album, and not because he's on it. Your vocals are outstanding, but it did just add a little something.
Yeah.
I was feeling really left out in the section right now.
Oh, sorry, Karl, you're there. All right. No, what do you...
I've got guitar questions, but I was genuinely interested in that because I felt that vocal just fit that song so well. It was just such a beautiful match.
Do you know, actually, it was Karl's idea to contact Tom anyway. So, yeah, Karl. So how did that happen, Karl?
After all of the 19 million layers of guitars were down, I kind of thought to myself, what can we do? Jen said she had this idea for a duet, and our first, thought was, well, we just tour with Stradivarius, we just tour with some of our, idols when we grew up. Timo would be a fantastic singer, but then we thought, you know what, that's too obvious. We don't like to do things obviously in PA. We like to mix things up a little bit. So when we thought, we could market it as a guest singer, everyone's going to think, it's going to be him. And then we give him a curveball, give them something different. But I kind of always thought that his voice or that style of voice would suit Jen's. So kind of real raspy, kind of edgy, kind of.
They mesh together beautifully. And it's like, I wouldn't have even known who he was if it wasn't for you guys. Like, I only researched it because I heard the vocal and went, that works so well. Who is that? Yeah. And it's funny that you say this. I wondered if it was Jason. I went, did you keep it in-house? And it was only when I researched it I found out that you got Tom in. But it just worked beautifully.
I think we had a few in mind. We had him. We had Jorn Landy. And personally, I had Tommy Karavik, who now sings in Camelot, but I'm a big fan.
Yeah, right.
Actually, I was thinking about him from day one because I'm a big fan of Seventh Wonder, but we met him when we opened for Camelot, and I thought, man, he's such a nice guy. He might be super keen on it. I think we actually contacted him. I think I sent an email to him, and he was super busy.
Wasn't he touring?
Yeah, I think that's what I had plans so that he couldn't do it. So we went, all right, we'll go to the list.
What you got worked beautifully.
Cheers, thank you.
Yeah,
thanks for the feedback. Yeah.
Like, Jen, your voice is just divine. And Andrew, when the time comes, I have so many questions for Jen about that. But I felt that vocal duet just really blended together so beautifully.
Give me a wink when that's going to happen, because I'm on a couch, so I can just go for a lie.
Don't worry, I've got guitar questions too, Karl. It's all good.
That won't take long, Jen. You can probably stay seated.
So because you did a lot of the production yourselves, like you did, I've got some notes here. You used Jens Bogren overseas. You sent stuff over there to get it mixed in that. You also had Adam at Toyland here in Melbourne, to do drums and vocals and stuff. But with it all being predominantly self-produced, like guitars, bass, and all that sort of stuff, when it comes to this sort of music, there's a couple of questions here. Like, one, you were mentioning like the guitar layering and stuff. So how much of that did you put into it, and when do you make the decision on that sort of stuff that it's enough? Because it's very easy to get carried away.
Usually when Jen gives me a really angry look. When she goes,
I think that's fair.
When am I supposed to sing over all of those? That kind of look. Then I know that's enough. And it's funny because then Luke, goes into the studio and tracks it for real, and then Jason tracks, for real, and then there's just all these extra notes in there. But no, we have a very bit of an open democracy kind of situation where we all kind of voice the opinions. With this album, I think we discussed having it more driven. We wanted, really heavy, straightforward kind of guitars. We wanted the vocals soaring over the top and kind of the keys to be more of a synthy ambient type sound rather than symphonic sound.
Yep.
So there were a lot more layers of guitars than maybe some of the previous records. And by layers, they were just things like in the chorus we're quad tracking it. So it's, it's the same type of thing, but it just makes it bigger.
Yeah.
That was actually going to be one of my questions. Like, when you listen to Divine Ascension, I don't think they sound like anyone else but Divine Ascension. And that's absolutely a compliment to you guys. That is amazing. But one of the things that fascinates me when I listen to your songs, they're so complicated. There is actually so much going on. There's so many layers, but you make it sound so effortless. And my question is, how many times do you listen to that in the studio and then add another layer or add something else? Because I feel like there's always something else going on.
I don't know if we do it in the studio. I think it's more of a writing.
Okay.
Thing. What do you reckon, Jen?
Yeah, well, I think, sometimes less is more, but it's like it's the same as like when you kind of go to paint a picture and then you look at it and you're like, yeah, we can put more on there. Still got some paint.
That's how I feel it is. If you kept it stripped back and bare, it's still beautiful. But every time I listen to it, I hear something else in it. I just feel like there's so many layers, but it just feels effortless and natural, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think some, like with the uncovering, I think we had a lot of layers, absolutely. For me, there was a few layers that I look back on and go, I would have taken that out. But I think during our writing session,
the guitars are all meant to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. The guitars are fine.
Of course they were, Karl.
All the guitars are absolutely fine. Some of the vocal layers I would actually take out if I could go back again now. Are you there? You all right?
There we go.
Upside down.
Nikki didn't want to have me keep the first one, so we got the thing in place. That's all right.
I had to charge the phone. Anyway, I'm genuinely interested in this.
Yeah, so I think, if I had time again, I would go back and change and pull out some of the layers, because sometimes I think, for me, I can just go, yep, all right, I'll just do another one. I'll just do another one, whatever. And I can hear all these different things. But I think that's the same as everyone. We all hear everything. So Luke can hear how much he can put into the drums, and Jace can hear how much he can put into the bass, and Karl can hear how much he can put into the guitars, and I can hear how much we put into the vocals. And we mesh it all together, and we've got this massive monster, and we have to strip it and pull it down. And so what you're hearing at the end is the stripped down version of what we had before. Because before it was like 3 times as big, or even more so, like ridiculous. So then we have to pull it apart and try and get to that happy medium.
I think there's 2 factors, like in my view, of why we do and why it is like that. The first is probably more so where we've got the studio time. It's easier to track it and delete it later on than not have it tracked and put it in later on. I think it's the best of of both situations. You can kind of always remove things, but I would hate to release an album and go, man, I wish I had done that. That would have been so good. I never want to be in that kind of a situation. I'd prefer to be in a situation and say, you know what, 14 guitar harmonies, probably didn't need the last one, but I think that's probably the first.
It works.
Yeah. And the second factor is I think we're very big on, like re-listening to something, not just listening to an album once and going, yep, cool, next. Being able to listen to it again and go, man, I didn't hear that. That's cool. That kind of being able to, when you watch a TV show, it's the same kind of thing. If they're really clever about it, you can re-watch something and go, wow, I didn't see that the first time.
Yeah.
It's what Jason would call an Easter egg.
Yeah.
And I think you just described my listening with the uncovering. It's like I felt like every time I listened to it, I heard something else. I thought that was amazing. I love that.
That's awesome. That's one person. Yes.
Woo!
on the uncovering, this one feels a little more aggressive in some parts than what you had with Liberator, for example. Like there's some vocal takes on this that are, a bit different than what you've done before. Was that a conscious thing, or was it organic? Like that shift, like you said you wanted to make this album a bit more down the line, like straight ahead kind of a thing. Was that a super conscious thing, and so you added these things on purpose, or was that all a part of the organic part of the band growing and the changes you've gone through over the years with lineup and stuff as well?
Well, I think, like Karl was saying before, conscious choice for guitars and stuff, to have a few more like really well-driven songs like that kind of push through and drive as well. And but for me, my vocals are better than what they were back then. I can't really explain that. It's not necessarily it wasn't necessarily a choice to do more vocal exercises or anything in particular, but my vocals are stronger now than what they were when we did Liberator. And I have more control over them, and I can do a lot more.
Do you reckon Jen's voice, like from a listener's point of view, it sounds more aggressive than the older albums? The interviewee has become the interviewer.
Yeah, I know. No, I think in my point of view, I think it's not so much the lead vocal being more aggressive as opposed to more powerful. There's a difference in that mindset. And so with the songs being written the way they are, and you've got a more powerful vocal coming through, it sort of lends this more intensity to it overall. And then you've got I don't know if it was Jason doing some sort of growly bits and pieces here and there, just touches of that. And it just felt like this one, the previous albums are fantastic, but this one just had a little bit more of a bite to it overall, kind of thing. And that's sort of what I was trying to dig into a bit deeper with that regard. And so, yeah, there's a lot more power in it. And it's just because there's a lot of this sort of music, you find that there's a trade-off between sort of the technical aspect and the soul and the feel of it, kind of a thing. And that's, that sort of thing is in my head when you listen to it as well. And this one, it's still got your clinical side, but there's definitely that sort of more, I don't know, there's more to it than just that as well. So your thoughts on that kind of a thing, and how that, what if you look back on your first two albums and then you come to this one, what do you think the biggest differences are from the finished product, and also how you got to that finished product on this time around?
Well, I reckon it definitely feels more guitar driven. That's that raw kind of aggressive, fast, in your face kind of a feel compared to.
Dumb punter, Karl, I have to agree with you on that. I feel like this album is very much more guitar driven and guitar heavy, and I'm a guitar lover, so that's a win. But I so agree with you on that. I really feel this guitar in this album more so than the others.
I think that was a conscious choice we were talking about, and then poor Jen just is forced to sing over the top of it, so she has to get louder and get more powerful. There's only a little bit of that frequency range left.
Yeah. I think it's also like, who knows what would have happened if things had have panned out differently. Like, because we stripped all the keys out once it was already written, and then we put them back in. But we put them back in with conscious effort too, that they would just kind of be ambient and supporting the rest of the things that were going on. At that point in time, we hadn't actually been, maybe the drums had already been in the studio, but we were partway through tracking guitars, or all the way through tracking guitars. But we'd already done a full demo version of the album. So we knew exactly what was happening with the bass, the vocals, the keys, everything. And then at that point, we pulled everything out again and supported the guitars that were done. So that could have also changed it.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because you're missing that part of the sound wall that used to be there, kind of thing. So you've got to fill it with something. And the guitars, apart from the vocal, is the easiest way to fill your sound wall out.
Yeah, it's true. And
I've been listening to it. It's very much more guitar driven. This one really feel the guitars in it more than the other two. I wanted to ask a question about Jen in particular. With your voice, it is just angelic and amazing and incredible. I read somewhere that you guys met on Melbourne, which fascinated me. What I really wanted to know, in this article, it was saying that Jen had saw an ad in Melbourne and she felt that she had something to offer vocally to this arrangement. Jen, have you always sung in this style? Because when I listen to Divine Ascension, I don't even think of anyone else. I think of you, Jen, and Divine Ascension. I don't think you sound like anyone else. I think you sound like you, and that's absolutely amazing. What was your vocal style prior to this band? Where did you come from?
Training and stuff was firstly opera-based. And then I didn't like opera, and I was a snotty teenager. So I started the contemporary voice kind of training, and then did some theatre. And then did some cruise ships. So I did all kind of like popular music and anything you can think of. Joined a rock band, so 60s and 70s rock music. But yeah, mainly heavy background in music theatre, and that's where I thought I wanted to be.
Was it Karl that you connected with on Melbourne?
No, it's actually Rob. So Rob.
Hello.
It was Rob, the guitarist that we had also for Liberator and As the Truth Appears.
Right.
Rob uploaded like a MIDI track. It was like orchestral, and there was like programmed drums and stuff, and a little bit of guitar.
So how did you just go, I'm going to put my spin on it. I'm going to put my opera training, my theatrics, my soul into this. Like, I actually think what you have is quite unique. So how did you come up with that?
It was kind of my mindset at the time, because I was doing a composition degree at uni. So it was music composition. I was writing a lot of orchestral stuff. I was arranging a lot of stuff at the time. And I was right in that songwriting mindset. So I wasn't looking to join a band when I was looking on Melbourne. I was looking for talented musicians to write with, not necessarily to perform with. So
still looking.
And
I think that's going to lead me to the next question, because obviously it's all about Karl now. So what happened there? Like, I mean, we all evolve and we all grow, and that's part of the journey.
With what like the talent? I'm still waiting.
I mean, were you around in those days, Karl? Did you come later? How did that work?
I'm pretty sure Jen got in contact with those guys a little bit before me.
Yeah.
I was the kind of final member. I was probably still in high school at the time that Jen joined, so I couldn't really associate.
Yeah, he was such a young'un.
Yeah.
And was it 2000? When was it that you started? Like, I know you released your first album in 2011. When did Divine Ascension actually start?
2006. 2007 was when we released the first demo.
Were you in nappies?
Pretty much.
I reckon it was even probably 2005 that I got in contact with the guys, because we
really
had a couple of rehearsals, and then I pissed off on a cruise ship for a while.
That's
and then came back, and that's when I met Karl, I think.
Yeah, I got in contact with them because I remember meeting Rob, and I remember he said, "Oh, we've got this singer, but she buggered off on this cruise ship, but she's coming back soon." And she said, if we haven't found anybody else, she'll come down and, join the band basically permanently. And
so how did you know Rob, Karl? How did that piece tie in together?
So, but same thing. I saw an ad on Melbourne, and I went down in my P plates. I think I was 18.
Right.
Because I remember after I joined the band, we would have rehearsals and everyone would have a beer and pizza, and I couldn't have a beer, because that was my P plates responsible,
So at that time, were there two guitarists?
Yeah, Rob was the original guitar player, so there was two of us.
Yeah.
I remember I basically entered an ad, and they said, "Come on down." They were jamming out some songs. I said, "Here, pick up the guitar." I remember I jammed, I think, a Dream Theater song, or maybe Pull Me Under, or one of the classics. And then the next day they kind of sent me a message and said, "Yeah, we're cool. If you want to join, you're in." So I don't know. I must have played that song pretty good. That was basically it. And yeah, just kind of hung out with Rob, learnt some songs, and then I think Jen came back not long after.
I think Karl's the kind of guitarist that he can play ridiculous songs at the age of 12, and everyone looks at him and goes,
"No one knows."
I give up. No, you're very, very, very talented, Karl. But even when he was young, when he joined the band, like, he was very, very good. So when
I joined the band, what happened afterwards?
Mediocre outcome.
Now we declined there. No, I think that was pretty much it. Once you came back, that was it. That was like the first. And then we had our first band photo out the front of Toyland where Adam works.
Yes. Oh, right, okay.
There's a photo of us out the front with his rolling door, and it was the worst photo that I've ever seen in my life. And we happened to be in it.
No, the playground photo's worse.
No, I think they're
I want to see the playground photos, Jen. I have to dig down through the deep, dark internet for this, don't I?
I don't know whether you'll find them.
History. It's like you do some photos of your old stuff. Do some reenactment of your old photos from 15.
We should.
Yeah, sure.
You know what? I'm just going to post the playground photos on our social media this week for you guys.
I want to see the playground photos, Carl. Show us.
I'm pretty sure it's a train. I'm sitting in the train like beep beep.
Thomas the Tank Engine on, or
sorry?
Thomas the Tank Engine beanie, or?
No, I had the hair down because we had our makeup on. It was a video clip. We were all looking pro and heavy metal.
Jen was on one of those springy things. You look like a springy seahorse rider thing to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Any chance.
You definitely need to dig up those photos. That would be fun.
I don't need to. They're on my backdrop on my personal computer.
Bring them up, Al. Bring them up.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Now, I got a question here from Dave, and this sort of it ties in loosely to where we kind of are at the moment. And he's just gone that sort of with each album, the lineup seems to shrink, the sound seems to get bigger. So, what do you kind of attribute that to? Do you think?
Thinking we can do better than what the people who left did. Is that politically correct?
No, not at all.
Honesty is good. It's just curious.
I don't know. Maybe that's why the albums are getting angrier because I do more work now. You know,
I think the guitars have come to the front in this album more so than the previous albums.
Because there's nothing left. They have to be at the front.
I know the box is still pretty fucking amazing.
I think it's just going to be Jen with singing the bottle song because there's going to be nothing left.
Look, that's a classic. That's going to be a B-side.
That's album.
Well, you've covered the Final Countdown before. You could do a cover of that.
I was thinking about that. There's actually a song that I really want to do a cover of, but I've never told anybody.
Okay.
Oh, go on, still.
Exclusive, is it?
No, well, you remember that song by Steps?
5, 6, 7, 8.
It's getting baby.
I think it's probably Time I Left because I actually admit to knowing that song. It's my daughter's fault.
It's not the worst because when Brendan was getting you to do Milkshake, he meant the Village People, and you went and pulled out the pop song version of it.
Anyway,
we'd have to change. We'd have to, because we're a prog band. Ours would have to be like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Boots good.
Then we'll demolish that shit. She will eat it up for breakfast. Babe,
you're not going to put any jazz beats on the hi-hat while you're doing it, or?
I reckon we can get the dance moves going on the video. It's like an old school Baywatch.
I don't know if I support this dream.
Yeah. Oh no, Jen, I'm with you. I'm sticking with you, girl.
Until everyone leaves the band and I'm sitting on left.
You'll be up there with a trigger machine and a bunch of synths and stuff on the guitar and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I have a dumb question and a serious question, and if you kind of answered it already, well, shoot me.
No questions dumb.
This one might be Jen.
Go ahead.
Covering. How long has it actually been in the making? How many years, months were you working on this? I feel like it might have been a while.
The Uncovering?
Yeah.
A year. So 2015 we came back. 2016 we wrote it. 2017 Luke went into the studio.
Okay.
So January 2017 Luke recorded it, and by that time we had the full album, everything, like already written, pretty much almost the way it sounds now. because we always kind of write our albums in demo form, but they're pretty close to what it's going to sound like.
Yeah, right.
And then we re-recorded the whole thing again. But it was just literally hold-ups in personal life and all that kind of stuff from each member of the band. From when Luke went in, from then on, it was just hurdle after hurdle after hurdle from all different angles.
Yeah.
So
first
the writing...
That guitar solo in Evermore, that was the first hurdle.
Yeah.
That took me about 9 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, like from an outsider looking in, that blows my head. Why, Karl? Why would it take 9 months?
Because I decided to harmonise it. That's my problem.
All right, yeah.
It didn't take me 9 months. I just remember it being a pain in my backside. we have a saying we have actually a lot of sayings in DA, but one of them is, it seemed like a good idea at the time. Now, that usually means that at the time of writing, when it comes to recording and playing live and actually doing what you said you were going to do back then, that's when the saying comes out. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
And Karl always says to me in rehearsal, well, Jen, you wrote that vocal line, so just do it. I'm like, oh, damn it.
You wrote to do it. Like,
apparently I wrote the vocal line, damn it. Why did I do that?
Yeah.
God damn you for being so talented, Jen. Like, what were you thinking?
I know.
Tough.
Hey, so Beyond the Line, the film clip, is that filmed at someone's house you actually know, or was that a rando house?
No, we just walked down the street and found a house we liked the look of and knocked on the door.
It's my sister's house.
Ah, awesome. Because I see the drum kit and share and like you by the staircase, and I'm like, whose house is that? I just had to know.
Got all that going on, you worry about the house.
Well, yeah, I love the song, but I wanted to know, like, whose house did they crash at? Clearly it's someone's.
Yeah.
For a clip.
Yeah.
How the what, sorry?
Oh, how do you find a house for a clip? You go to your sister.
Yeah. Like, oh, no, well, you could try Airbnb, but, like, that's what I did first. I was trying, all of these places that I like the look of, and then I'm like, well, how do I work out if it looks exact? You know, when you look at photos and you're like, that looks perfect, and you get there, it's a shoebox, and you can't even fit a bass drum in there.
Absolutely.
So, in the end, because I wanted to do it in a house, I don't know why, and it's kind of telling for the time now, I suppose, isn't it? But wanted to do it in a house, and the videographer that we were using was like, yeah, let's do this, it will be cool. So, yeah, and that was pretty much a good option because we knew that the drum kit would fit in those open spaces and stuff. So,
yeah. And you had the staircase, Jen.
Yeah, that was an added bonus.
Is that all you noticed about the film clip, like member-wise?
Well, no, clearly there was a guitarist going on.
Yeah,
clearly.
Yeah. No, but did you notice maybe the location of the different members?
Well, what I remember is particularly the drums with the blinds behind them. There was the drums in the room with the blinds behind them. Jen by the staircase.
Who was working hard next to the person on the drums?
Oh, the guitarist, obviously. Clearly the guitarist.
I don't remember working that hard. I remember.
No, you were sitting on a bed. It was Jason by the drum.
Wait, you're on the bed. Thank you, Andrew. You were on the bed. Like, just chilling back. What's up on the bed? All right, Karl. One of the questions I was going to ask you anyway, so now seems like an appropriate time. What model acts do you play? Do you have an endorsement? Are you just passionate about a particular model? Talk to me about your guitar. I need to know.
I feel like I need to take one step back because I kind of led you guys to that answer just to rub it in Jason's face that I got to sit on the bed when he had to work hard for that whole film.
It is true. It is true.
Because I did it all day during the filming and he still hasn't let me live it down. I'm just putting this out there and I'm literally going to find the part in the interview where this happens and I'm going to send it to him at that point.
And every show from now on, Karl's going to pack a camping chair and take it on stage with him just to rub it in Jason's face.
Yep.
Is Jason going to be required to be almost like a whirling dervish beside the drum kit for all this now? Or
pretty much. Like, You know, I don't get many wins in the band, and when I do, I make sure I live with them.
No, you said, I totally remember you chilling out on the bed playing, but like it was until you said it, I'm like, oh yeah, you're on the bed.
Yeah.
Camping chair.
I was like so tired after that day. I was so refreshed. I felt fantastic.
Well, what next do you play? Tell me about your guitar.
My guitars, I play comparison guitars. So there are all the comparison Horace models. They're all the old school models that don't have any of the pickup selectors. So they're all 2000s and a couple of them 90s. But they're basically, are you guys familiar with comparison guitars?
No.
So,
I'm going to be honest and say no.
They're basically all Japanese. And the guy who kind of worked for Jackson, he
right.
his own and created comparison. So there are some old school Jackson guitar models that have a very similar look to the comparison look.
Okay.
Minus the headstock kind of design.
Yeah.
He went off on his own and created comparison many years ago.
So how did you find comparison as opposed to Jackson? Because we all know Jackson. So this is a bit neat.
I actually started with the Jackson in my first kind of proper electric guitar. We played some DA shows with the Jackson. It was a Japanese-made one. But I'm a very big fan of, a few different bands that play comparison guitars, and that's how I kind of stumbled across them. So guitarists like Matthias Eklund from Free Kitchen, I'm a massive fan of him.
Right.
Michael Romeo from Symphony X.
Yep.
Even Tom England from Evergrey, he plays comparison guitars.
Cool. Okay.
I kind of stumbled across them through those bands and took the plunge, bought one, and now I have many more than one.
The never-ending shopping spree for that front, is it?
Yes, yeah, it never ends. Seriously.
I'm glad I asked this question because I'd never heard of comparison. I've certainly known Jackson, so I'm glad to learn something. That's what this is about sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of people ask because they're not very well known here. They had a distributor. I think it was through B Music, and I think they might have a distributor here now. But
I think one in New South Wales, maybe.
Yeah, they're not very popular. They are fairly expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, now they've been around long enough, you can pick up some of them fairly cheap, but they're all from basically overseas. You can't go into a shop and buy them. So,
Are you endorsed by them, or you just passionate? You play them because you love them?
I just play them because I love them. But even if I got in, I'm not endorsed by them. But even if they were looking to give me an endorsement, if you're watching right now, just send me the logo. I've got enough. I don't need any new ones.
No, we do.
Just give me a tick of approval so you can say that you're endorsed. I don't need anything for free. I've already supported you enough with your superannuation plans.
So
Your own
the album. So your sound is really big, right? So when I listen to the album, I don't feel like there's a singular guitar. I feel like there's harmonies or doubles or whatever. So do you like double track the guitar? Do you harmonize it? How does that work?
Everything is double tracked. So all the way from, start to finish is basically double tracked.
Yeah, right.
Rhythm wise. And another thing that we do is we quad track the chorus just to give it that extra level of oomph to kind of naturally.
Right, okay.
That's one of the things that we do. But a lot of the lead lines, they're all single lines, and then we just harmonize them. I guess it's kind of what Jen said before. We when we're writing in your own kind of little world, you add little bits here and there, and before you know it, you've got 900 million layers of guitar.
Yeah.
You kind of have to complete something. Yeah. So I've always, even now, like we're down to one guitar player, people say, oh, well, how do you play them all live? Well,
that was going to be what I was going to ask you. How does that compare to the live stuff you do?
Well, when we first had the 2 guitar players and the 6-piece, we used to basically play everything that you hear. But now that we've kind of lost members along the way and haven't found kind of suitable replacements and just kind of stopped looking, we kind of went, well, an album. If you want to listen to an album, listen to an album. If you want to listen to a live band, listen to a live band. There are some tricks of the trade that we use to make it sound like it's similar to the album, but not everything needs to be played on the album for it to be a live show. And I think that's the difference.
And not everything is sung as well. So
yeah,
it's a bit different, but it's still quite full live. Yeah. Like it's always, But
it's a different experience. Like, if you don't see us live, you won't get that on the albums. So And Jason has got like a billion strings on his bass and is a ridiculously good musician.
Oh,
so
I know, right? How many strings does that cat have on his bass? Is it 6 or 5?
I lost count at 6. I don't know
6.
what it's on.
I look at it and go, I feel like it's 6, but I might be wrong.
Yeah,
6.
He's doing all the, things. He's probably playing about 15 notes at once.
He's working seriously beside the drummer, unlike others who are sitting on the bed.
Yeah. So we're like being even a 4-piece. I think everybody's fairly capable of filling those gaps. So I'm fairly confident, I guess. So we do.
So how much did coronavirus fuck with your launch? Because you had a few shows. Did you actually play the Geelong show? Did that happen or not happen?
Yeah, did you
So the Barton part happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did. That was our last show.
Yeah.
Right.
We cancelled. What did we cancel, Jen? Sydney and Canberra.
Sydney, Canberra, Melbourne, and we were going to. It wasn't confirmed, but was in talks with doing a Ballarat show.
Right.
And was in other discussions as well. So what we'd actually announced and what we were going to do was a bit different because we were going to do more afterwards as well.
Yeah.
It did actually, and it's quite full on because it takes a long time to put those things together, to find the right date, the right venue, the right bands to play with, and sort all those things out. So it's but lots of people have kind of had to cancel shows and stuff. So we're not the only ones, it's and it's better not to play shows in, kind of a unsettled world.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to do it now anyway. I mean, it wasn't long after you cancelled that everyone got shut down anyway, so you weren't going to have it regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, that was kind of my point. I feel like they had momentum. They had things booked, things were happening, and then everything just happened, And that sucks, and I'm sorry for you guys. And I really can't wait till whatever day that is when we can play some sort of shows and I can come and see you guys, and hopefully you can pick up where you started,
Yeah, well, it is what it is, I guess. We, just like a lot of other bands that cancelled shows, financially it hit us, but we're all, grateful to be working, so it wasn't a massive hit, I guess, for a lot of bands out there that touring is their livelihood. It'd be a much bigger hit than it would have, than it was for us at the time. Just a bit of a kick in the teeth that we kind of had all these things. Jen put a stack of work into the tour. And it just kind of went, we can't do it. That's you don't get that time back.
Yeah,
you spend on it.
Does the uncertainty of what's coming up in that regard? Because I personally don't think we'll have anything close to what resembles the old live music scene until there's a vaccine. Probably another 6 months after that. So you're probably looking another 18 months, 2 years away. I would think before we even get close to going back to the way it was, and by then the market will have shifted. So, what have you already started to think ahead into what that's going to look like for the scene in general, for you guys as Divine Ascension? Like, how do you see things playing out, and what are you trying to do to bridge that gap with digital, social, all sort of stuff as well?
Well, I think it's a kind of a bit of an interesting thing to try and plan ahead and say, all right, we're going to pick up where we left off and try and do those shows and so forth. But in reality, it's such an unusual circumstance. Like, this is, we haven't lived through something like this before. So we don't know if there's going to be a second wave. We don't know if we're going to be back in venues in 4 months' time. We probably unlikely, but we just don't know how these things are going to pan out. I suppose it's the same as when you're writing an album. You just don't know how it's going to pan out. It depends on creativity and, where the writing takes you, because a lot of it is just based on instinct and how it unfolds. And sometimes it can take a year and sometimes it can take 3. So for me, I don't have any expectations placed on Divine Ascension, but I am kind of working more towards writing the next album rather than putting my energy into marketing what we've already done. Yep. Because I feel like bringing new music out at the end of this and potentially traveling on with that would be more beneficial for our souls and for our livelihood and our mental health as well, rather than picking up that album and trying to roll where we left off. Yeah. So for me, it's kind of, I want to move forward, but I don't want to discount what we've done.
Yeah.
It's going to be timing, I think, like where we're at with the next stuff, as to what we do.
Cool. Anything on that, Karl, or are you?
No, I pretty much agree with that. It's hard to say, you're going to do this when we don't know if you'll be able to do it. So like Jen said, it's hard to plan for something if you don't know that you'll be able to actually enact that plan. So the one thing that we can do and we can control is to write and create, which is literally why we started the band. We didn't start the band to go play shows every weekend. We started the band because we enjoyed writing music. The live shows were a bonus for us. That expression that we're able to put out into our music that people seem to enjoy is a bonus, but we started it because we enjoyed writing. So that's the one thing we can keep doing, and we've actually been super grateful for the time like we've had. Usually this time of the year is super hectic, so we wouldn't have had much time to do much writing, but we have. So
yeah,
bit of a silver lining.
I agree with that too. So I find sometimes when the world is hectic and your head just gets filled with lots of things and work and crap and dealing with life and people and whoa, dude, can't be creative, like sometimes you just got to take a breath. And for me, this whole situation has given me that, like, time to reflect, time to sit back. So the other albums were written in amongst the chaos of my life, and this one is might feel different. I don't know. Still might be chaotic. Who knows?
That's cool. Well, let's go to the present, the here and now, because for the Uncovering, you've got 2 singles in Evermore and the new one, Beyond the Line. So you always put a very emotive sort of weight into your video clips. It seems like that anyway. There's always a message, an emotional sort of anchor point to the video clips you release. So tell us about the 2, but I guess the main one being the new one, obviously, but just tell us about your video clips and what made you choose those songs and go with that sort of visual representation of them.
Jen?
Do you want to do Evermore, Karl, and I'll do the other one?
All right. What do you do? Halftime swap sides. There's another saying that we have in DA. On to you, Jason.
Yeah, I can take it if you want. Thanks. So Evermore was so you kind of wanting to know what's behind the scenes or why we do what we do, or
just sort of like why you chose those 2 songs to be represented in video form, and then like because all your videos have an emotive weight to them. It's just how you get to that point and what I get more into the message of the video, so to speak, because it always ties into the content.
So it just depends on the track as well. So when I'm writing lyrics and stuff, generally always there's a story behind what's happening, and it depends how strong that pull is for me, as to if it needs to be told in video format, if that makes sense. So I feel like Evermore was a no-brainer for us. Like as soon as we heard that song together, it was in pieces when we were writing it. Like we were just piecing things together. And when it finally came together, it felt like something really special.
Have you seen that SpongeBob SquarePants meme where he's got like all the arms pointing in different areas? That's pretty...
Yeah. It kind of felt like something really special, and we decided that we wanted to do a video for it. And then I said, okay, well, this is what I feel from it, and we created the story. For the latest film clip, Beyond the Line, we weren't necessarily going to do another video for this album, and I said to the guys, I really feel drawn to this song, and I really feel like I need some kind of creative closure in a way for the song. Like I couldn't let it go. It was just like this thing that was that was drawing me in. So I said to the guys
as well, like there's a lot to get drawn into with that song. So that's what you're saying from an outsider's perspective also makes sense too.
Yeah, and for me, it's like it's closure from this relationship of this album. You know, like it's creative closure from this thing that I'm so connected to, and I wasn't able to kind of step forward and move on until I could get this out. And so that's, I think also with this album as well, I had with Beyond the Line, I had a very clear picture as to what it was about, what I wanted to portray. And I don't know whether that comes through in the video or not, but I felt like the song needed a video to be heard, if that makes sense at all.
Get it out into the world more fully, so to speak, get the full story of it out. Is that what you're sort of getting at in that?
There's so much on our album, like on the Uncovering, there's so many things going on, and there's, in reviews, there were people pinpointing different songs, and I was like, oh, I wouldn't expect that Prisoner would be your favourite, or, you know, that, you know, Evermore would be your favourite or whatever. That was just very different for everyone, very different experience. And I feel like that song carries something unusual. I don't know what it is. And I felt like I didn't want that song to be overlooked.
Yep.
Yeah. Or overshadowed by other things. It's got something interesting in it that I can't even explain.
So, like when you get to the video itself, you've got the whole sort of sliding doors effect. You've got, you know, the positive outcome and the negative outcome.
Yeah.
How does that all come together in the mindset of the, you know, the creative mindset of the song and wanting to say goodbye to it? Does that link into what you're talking about now with you trying to move forward and being sort of stuck without that? Or I don't know, like, yeah.
Yeah, not really. It's kind of, the song itself is just it's literally about the chaos of my life, and and how sometimes it like takes you to breaking point, where you kind of have to make a decision, what to leave behind and what to move forward with. And so this idea was the idea that I took to the videographer. So I just said, it's about the chaos of my life, and I need to drop something to be able to make a decision, or to come out okay on the other side, or to not. So, you know, like, it's just about choices, really. Like, so, and how every day you make them, you know, and you get up and you can choose to be happy, or you can choose to, you know, like, try and sometimes you have that choice of being able to not be dragged down by those things.
Yep. Cool.
And that's the thing, you see the parallel of the two situations. The chick, you know, she's sunning herself by the pool, or she's in the pool and it's raining. Like, there's that duality, and it's like, which way am I going? Which way am I going?
Yeah.
And it's that comment, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's definitely that. It's like you can have so many different personas or personalities within your own self. It's the exploration of that.
Yeah. I think it matches the song too. Like, you listen to it from a musical point of view, the first, I guess, half, you could say, is very hectic musically. It's just got timing, very rhythmic pattern, whereas then it has this open kind of happy feeling towards the end, this openness, this like euphoric feeling. And I guess that's the two opposing, you know, people in that video. You know, when it's that dark, you're crying, you feel like everything's, you know, you're weighing on your shoulders. It feels like you're just getting pumped, like the double kicks in your face, you know, at the beginning of the song. And then when she's laying on the bed chilling out, it's just that open, nice piano kind of feeling. That's just how I see it working. Yep. I guess it kind of represents the song musically.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. I've got a random question, and this is weird and stupid, but it's how I feel, so I'm going with it.
Answer.
When I listen to your songs, right, like, I feel like I'm on a journey. I'm going on a carriage. There's this high and there's low, and there's emotions and there's feelings, and I feel like I'm in a movie. Even when I'm just listening to the songs, I feel like I'm on an adventure, right? It's taking me somewhere. And while I'm listening, I go, oh, man, these guys should do like a soundtrack to a film. Like, they're just fucking anthemic. There's just something going on here. And then I found out you actually fucking did do that. Double vision, yeah? I want to, like, learn a little bit more about what the hell was that and where did it come from and how did it happen?
So do we.
All right then. Woohoo! I'm not taking drugs though. You were on a soundtrack for a film called Double Vision, yeah?
As far as I'm aware. I don't know, Jen, do you know any different? I haven't seen the film, so until I see it, I don't know. There's always that bit of...
We were talking about that the other day. Like, we just don't know what's going on. We think it was premiered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is an American filmmaker. I don't... It's not going to be, you know, a Hollywood blockbuster or that kind of film. It's, you know, probably just someone doing something like we are, doing something because he enjoys it. But he just contacted us via our website and said, love your music. I'm shooting this film. This is kind of what it is. I'd love your music to be featured in it. How do you feel about that? And then we just kind of started chatting. And he mentioned a few other artists. We kind of approached the record label and said, hey, this guy's creating this film. Are you cool with us giving him some stuff to use? And they said, yeah, no worries. And then the next minute he said, I want these 3 songs. And we went, all right, cool.
So 3 songs?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was, I don't know if it was Beyond the Line, but I know Prisoner was on there and I think Evan.
Yeah. Stronger.
Was it Stronger?
Okay.
No, one step from here maybe.
Really? I thought he was using Stronger for his, like, gym track or something.
He could be. I know there was 3, but it's been that long since we've kind of had that conversation with him that we really don't know what's happening.
Okay. Well, it just blew my mind because, as I said, listening to your music, I feel like I'm on an adventure, I'm on a journey, I'm being taken somewhere. And, like, I personally had this thought going, oh, my God, this is like a soundtrack. This is like emotive. It's taking me somewhere. And then when I was doing some research, I went, oh, my God, someone beat me to it. You've actually already been approached. It's like, well, whew, makes sense.
Better write another album, I guess, so you can start filming.
I better just saying.
I've already got a theme in mind that kind of sums up how my life is. Oh, wait, that's
Get some Benny Hill going.
Yeah.
That is actually really cool, though. How many people can say, hey, my tunes were picked for a soundtrack? That is actually still amazing. I didn't know it was 3 songs. You should be very proud of yourselves.
No, we are.
Thanks.
Like, I don't know what the movie's like, what it looks like, because we haven't seen it yet. So it's, like I said, it's a bit of skepticism. Did it really happen? Did it not? We don't know.
Is it on social media? Because if it's not, it may not have happened.
Have to go and look it up.
Hopefully it's a good movie. I actually want to see it and see how our creation fits with his. Like I don't, I've never filmed a movie, so I don't know how it would fit in. I don't know. Yeah. So it would be cool to see.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Just when you were talking, like it does segue in sort of slightly here with the idea of themes and that sort of stuff. When it comes to the lyrics and on the Uncovering, there's an overarching kind of it's not a concept album or anything like that, but there's little themes sort of link in and that. And so where do your lyrical, like we have touched on it, but where does your lyrical sort of themes come from, and then how do you sort of tie that in with the music? Is it music? Like music is usually first, but as it's all growing, how much does that, influence each other in that as well, kind of a thing? So it's like, where do your lyrical themes come from, and how does that sort of impact the journey of the actual pieces of song and as such the overall album?
Well,
where is Jen on your screen, like the one that's being recorded?
My bottom, so she's beneath me on the screen at the moment.
Where am I in relation to her?
Opposite.
To the left?
So how do I do a handball? Can I do like this? Kind of like
go down like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it handball? There we go.
So you need to handball to the right.
Yeah, I dropped a sitter, Jen. Come on.
Did I catch it? Is that right?
The other way, but all right, we're throwing babies and babies getting dropped. That's the one.
That's right.
Babies are getting dropped in their head all over the joint now. That
really explains my answers, I guess. But that's what happened to me.
It's very different between songs. Like sometimes there's just like a guitar riff idea, or sometimes Karl will throw me like a track that's like perfect and completed and ready-made, and
waiting for that
everything and everything's all in its place, and then I can just hear what has to happen straight away. And then sometimes it's like I'll hear something or write a verse or a chorus, and then I'll throw it back at Karl and say, hey, I've just cut it up like a lot. Check it out, see if you're heavily offended. And but when I don't know, it's for me, I like to listen a lot. So I like to listen to the track and get a feeling or a color. Like sometimes I can see colors from music, and then I go from there. Often if I decide that I'm going to write something, and say I'm definitely going to write this song about a dog, definitely, and I'll start writing it, and Karl will be like, "What's the song about?" I'm like, "Definitely about a dog, definitely." And then I'll get all the way to the end. I'm like, "Yeah, it's not about a dog anymore. It's about a spaceship."
It's not about a dog anymore.
Yeah, it's very, yeah, I don't know. It's very
But it changed and evolved.
Yeah. I think in the end I was able to kind of have it all encompassed in one general idea for the uncovering, but I like to play with different themes rather than go, okay, well, I'm going to write this whole album about a spaceship. I'll play with small themes within those things.
Yep.
Right. And then tie it in together.
I can tell you she doesn't use any of my demo names for the track.
Yeah. That's because you used to give me demo names, and then I would go, oh, answers. Okay, I'm going to write this song about answers.
Yeah.
So what comes first? The guitar or the lyrics, or a bit of both back and forth? How does that work?
It's the chicken and the egg. Mostly
guitar riffs. Like that's why it's quite guitar driven guitar driven most of the time.
So do you hear something, Jen, and that takes you to a place where you feel? Is that what happens?
Yeah, I'll hear something that can, like a melody that can go over the riff. And then I'll lay it down, and then it maybe there's keys, maybe there's not, maybe there's drums, maybe there's not. And then from there, it's kind of like a bit of a back and forward game. So Karl will send me something, I'll put something on it, I'll throw it back at him, I'll like
tag your in.
Got it.
Handball it up, and then he does something else and then sends it back. And yeah, it sometimes can be a back and forward game for quite a long time, and sometimes it never quite gets there.
Yeah, never gets
yeah, the track never quite gets there,
Like, Karl, have you ever sent something to Jen and she's put her flavour on it, sent it back, and you've gone, nah, not how I heard it or saw it?
Take that to my grave.
Yeah, he'll never say though. Whereas I will say, like, I'll go, nah, that's really dodgy.
Like, already?
Do it again. No, that's bad. But Karl will just go, shelf.
Well, clearly it works more times than not, or we wouldn't have the uncovering. So we know that it works.
Yeah, we go through a lot of material. So if we went through like all of our backlog material, probably have 15 albums worth.
Yeah, right.
So we're
would they be good? No.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Some people have heard them said, "Oh, why don't you release this? Why don't you release that?" But you're not
averse to a cheeky B-side or a secret track. Didn't Liberator have a couple of extra tracks on it?
Yeah, but we wrote them for the album. They were never going to be bonus tracks.
Hey, wait, go back, Tiger. They were sold to me as bonus tracks. I've been robbed.
No, we planned to release, like, we wrote them as this is the album. But then when the labels, with the deal that we had, they said, oh, well, we want to have a couple of extra tracks.
Right.
For a bonus. And we went, oh, well, any, meeny, miny, mo. And we picked those two.
Oh, no, that was bad. We were in bad arguments about that. As to what we were keeping as bonus tracks and what we were not. We had to do a Mexican standoff with water pistols.
No, that's really
It got really serious.
Yeah. So basically what I'm hearing is the bonus tracks were always part of the album, but...
Nikki, you fell for a marketing gimmick.
I did, didn't I? I was excited with the bonus tracks, but, I'm still excited.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed it, and actually a few people have noticed it, even like Gary and Peter at Screaming Symphony. They've said, your bonus tracks are not really like a lot of people's bonus tracks. They're not a demo. They're not a live. Yeah, they're actually an original piece. Yeah, and we always wrote them, with the whole album in mind. And then our album tends to be 65 minutes long compared to a normal 40-minute one or whatever it is. And they say, oh, we need a couple of tracks as bonus. So we always, we like to give quality, I guess. All right. DA guarantee.
Is that our new slogan, Carl?
Yeah. DA guarantee.
Stick that around the rim of the beanie for the next batch you do.
DA guarantee.
DA.
So, going back to the uncovering a little bit, the album title and the album artwork, because the album artwork is quite different to the previous two. Like, not that there was anything, not that there was a consistent theme, but this is much more, like the other ones were not nearly sort of digital and clean as sort of the artwork is on the uncovering. So how did you get to the title of the album and then also the artwork? Where did that come from? What was the inspiration behind that choice?
Ooh, who's answering this one?
Well, I can if you want, but
go on, Jen.
Sorry.
Oh, is it that way?
No, you went right first time. That way, yep.
Yeah.
We all kind of have jobs in the band in a way, like, so we all take on different tasks. Yep. And Jason is super into design and stuff. So while I can't even remember, we were doing I think I was recording and Jason's like, check out this picture. Check out this one. Check out this one. Check out this picture. I'm like, good. All good. So Jason actually did heaps of research and knew exactly what would fit the music. He's really good at it, and he found an artist that he thought would work really, really well. And he's like, yeah, we got to contact this guy. So with that much enthusiasm. And so we did, and we were really happy with the product. So it was a different artist to what we used last time, and it was like Jason's kind of gut inspiration of what he wanted to kind of show for the album cover. It was really, really important for him to have that digital kind of awesome image.
And the colours were a big thing for him, I remember.
Yeah.
We like the theme, like we were saying before, Jen themes a lot of her lyrics. They sometimes naturally just occur. There's a theme usually running through them. They might be all around the same idea or the way she's feeling at the time. And we kind of like to theme, I guess, the artwork to suit that, and then theme our stage performance to suit that.
Yeah.
And the last album, like Liberator, was a very red kind of color, that fire. Yeah. I remember Jason was talking. He's like, I feel this neon digital kind of world color. I feel this very, green kind of, that purpley kind of, that. So that was the image that we had from the very beginning. That color.
That was before we even started writing, because I remember sitting at the computer going, right, I'm writing in green. That's what's going to happen. Jason told me.
Writing green.
I'm writing in green.
So when you do play your next show, are you going to play any songs from As the Truth Appears? Like, will you revisit the previous albums, or what's your vibe on that?
We always try to.
Yeah?
Unless we forgot how to play them, then we can't.
Oh, like today, that song kills me. It destroys me, but I love it. But it
Which
kills
song?
me. Not Today.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that is just a wow song. That's a wow song for me.
Oh, thanks.
Well, I can tell you that we're definitely not going to play it today.
I've only played that live once.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think is that right? Once.
Amazing
yeah.
song.
I don't
But
even.
I mean, generally speaking, I was interested in when you do your next show, how much of it is going to be the uncovering as opposed to some of your back catalogue?
What was it? What was the split for the shows that we had planned this year, or that we did this year? So the bar one was like the full hour length.
Yeah.
So the other ones were going to be a bit shorter because they're all like a festival thing. So how long? The hour long. That was about a 50-50 split.
I reckon 60-40, and then we chucked in answers.
Yeah, right.
60 of the uncovering, 40 of Liberator, and then we chucked in answers.
Who does the male vocal in answers? Who do you get for
110%. Pardon?
Who does the other vocal in? Is it answers? You've got a male vocalist in that as well?
It's all Jen. She just changes her tone.
Jason does it.
She's like, give me an answer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Jason, our bass player Jason, he's got a lovely voice. So, yeah.
Ah, excellent.
Give me an answer.
Carl doesn't do it.
You sound like Ross Noble trying to do that.
I can do that one, and I can do Frank Walker from National Files. That's about it.
Hey! Come on, give me a Frank impersonation. I want to see it.
That's a bonus track of this interview.
You're such a filthy tease, Carl. You're such a filthy tease.
That's what makes the world tick.
You need to like bob down out of the video shot and go, well, hello.
How you've done it.
Oh, don't encourage him.
Do it, Jen. Encourage him.
Like those ones. Can we do the top one?
Hello.
That's
Frank Walker.
That table there was very, very, like the corner of the table was in a very awkward position. And if I ever want to become a father one day, I better not do it.
I don't trust my children's education to your brain. No stress.
Now they're like, I'm trying to sit on the couch and they're not sitting. I got jeans on. You know when you got jeans?
I was telling Andrew I went for a 20k bike ride yesterday. I feel like you might be a little bit like, ooh, after a 20k bike ride. Yeah, wow. I feel that.
No. Those two like words aren't in my vocabulary, 20Ks and bike ride.
Yeah, no, not on mine either, mate. You're not alone there.
They certainly wouldn't have been in mine until recently. I've been sucked in, but I'm going with it.
While you guys writing new music, she's out there reinventing herself.
That's good.
Now, while we're just talking about artwork quickly, you did have a cool piece of art done recently by William Garrity. That was a nice little homage done there. So tell us about how that one came about and sort of how cool it is as an experience to have that done for you.
Landed in our inbox and there it was. It was pretty nice. He actually just sent it to us, and he actually didn't send us that one. He sent a different one, and it had like a saying on the top. It was something like the metal resistance or something to do with, you know, heavy metal.
Yeah.
And it was literally that photo, but it was a little bit, or that picture, but it was a bit different. And then he asked me, he said, oh, what do you think of it? That kind of thing. So I think I sent it to you guys in our little chat, Jen. And then I replied to him. I said, look, fantastic, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, oh, you know, would you be keen on posting it kind of thing? I said, yeah, no worries. Absolutely. Post it. It's super, super cool. I'm literally at work right now. I'll do it at the end of the week kind of thing. And by that stage, he'd send us the new one. So I posted that one instead. But my face is not on it for reasons that are pretty obvious with the HD camera here.
Bit harsh.
No, that's the truth. So Jen's the one that has the experience of her, you know, of her being on it. How do you feel, Jen?
Oh yeah, like those. Anytime there's fan art, it's a lovely feeling. Like just to know that people are listening to your music and it's affecting them in a way where they actually take it one step creatively further and draw something or have, do something like that, like digital art. It's very cool. Like to have people do that, and it's very humbling. And of course we'll post that stuff. So. Yeah.
There's actually a guy from Poland who sends me a Christmas card every year, and it's a handmade Christmas card. Yeah, sends it personally. Like, Poland is not the most wealthy country in the world, so to post something all the way from there, it's not,
Yeah.
It's not cheap,
lightly,
He sends you a product, like posts you an actual hand-drawn product, or
like a handmade card.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's got like little guitars cut out. Like the design is his. You can't go to the shop and buy it. Like they're Kmart and kind of just buy this card. It's literally handmade.
Good on him. That's beautiful.
So yeah, it's super, super humbling. Every year I never expect it, and then it rocks up about 3 months after Christmas, and you go, "Oh man, this is like seriously, Merry Christmas in March." But it's like Jen said, it's very humbling.
Yeah.
Do you message him back? Like, are you on Facebook or anything where you can go, "Hey man, I got your card. That's amazing. Thank you."
Yeah. He followed us on there and kind of I think he's added a few of us on, but I always posted on, like the first couple I posted it on the DA page, just so he did, they could see it. And like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but it's, seriously, very, very humbling.
That's seriously cool.
Yeah. I don't know how he has my address, but
It's slightly scary.
It's the only non-humbling bit.
Yeah.
It was the Polish vodka.
Yeah, well,
I've got a question that I would love to hear from each of you, your answers, because I suspect they would be different. I hope they're different.
Is this the age thing again? Because I'm going after Jen. 1 year left. Okay.
I've already told you too much. I don't even know if I can look you in the eye anymore, Carl. I've told you too much. No, Jen. Oh, my God. Dickhead alert. But anyway, next question. I'd really love to know individually what influences motivate you, what inspires you, what kind of bands do you listen to and love? Not that you want to sound like or be like, because you sound like yourselves. You don't sound like anyone else. But what do you listen to and it just fills you with joy? I'd love to hear from each of you your answer to that.
Is this like one of those, detectives things where I have to leave the room and then she says and then, we switch and then we have the same answer?
Put more
Correct.
I just feel like you're different individuals and you'll probably like different things. But if you have the same answer, that's cool.
We know one of mine is steps 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah.
Where'd the 9 come from? I feel like you invented the 9.
It's working. It's progressive.
Who wants to go first?
Shelf.
You handball that joke out that way.
Carl, do you want to answer seriously or do you want me to go?
It's a genuine question.
Go.
No, go, Jen. You are the leader.
Okay. My influences are from all over the place. Like growing up, I listened to a lot of classical music and then a lot of musical theatre because that's what I really loved.
Yeah, right.
And cabaret, jazz. And then when I kind of got my metal introduction, which was after I joined Divine Ascension, because I wasn't quite aware what we were creating. I just thought it was cool music. Then I started to get into.
Do you remember your face? Well, you wouldn't have seen it, but I remember the look on your face on our first rehearsal. We turned up our half stacks to 11 and just played. That was Kodak moment.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I'd only ever really been in rock bands and I just wasn't used to that wall of sound. And I'm like, Jesus.
So, I'm awake now.
Should have brought those earphones. It was massive. But I think my my introduction to that kind of music was Within Temptation, Queensryche, Camelot, then Nightwish. So all the kind of European metal bands as well. And then I think Carl gave me some Delane. But for me now, I suppose we have access to so much music through Spotify. I more go with my mood. So with whatever I'm doing or whatever I want to do, and I let the music kind of, like sink in. So if I'm feeling like I need to calm down, then I'll put some chill music on or some, ambient kind of music. But if I want to go for like a run or something like that, I'll chuck on some metal music, or I'll chuck on some of Carl's demos and like write while I'm running, like
run away from them.
But so for me it's massive amounts of influences from all different, and I never kind of stop and just go, all right, I've found what I want to listen to. It's like I'm always looking for new stuff. So and I'll find a new band and then I'll just add it to my playlist, and then I'll move forward and cool. Lots of things. There's so much out there.
That explains a lot, Jen. That explains a lot.
She's not in the box, that's for sure.
Yeah. Handball.
What about you, young man? You're up.
That looked like a handball on my screen. That looked like a handball to Andrew.
Oh, on my screen it worked, so it's all good.
Oh, yeah. I got it. About 30 seconds too late. I've always been a bit of a metalhead. So even in high school with one of my closest friends, whose name also happens to be Jason, I remember sitting in like Italian class in like year 7, and we'd have one headphone each and our little MP3 player, 100 meg or whatever it was. We'd be listening to Children of Bodom, and I remember one of us would always put a crappy pan because we wouldn't have Alexi, and so the solos would always be on one side. And the other one, you'd always be like, man, I'm not getting any of the good guitar. So I remember like even from an early age, always listening to a lot of metal. But then as I got a bit older, I listened to a lot more fusion. So I got into a lot of things like Planet X, Virgil Donati, a bit more odd, Spiral Architect, those kinds of metal fusion madness crossover things. But I've never lost that heavy metal that pumps through my veins. So even when I'm listening to like movie scores, some of my favorite composers are like Alan Silvestri. So like I like the percussive side of his composing. Yeah, it reminds me of that rhythmic feeling of heavy metal, that feeling that you can't get from any other type of music. And so my influences, like I've said a few of them before, Matthias Ekland is probably my favorite guitar player of all time.
Right.
Free Kitchen is something that a lot of people go, really? It's not really heavy metal. It's a bit odd. It's a bit basic. But yeah, more metal things like Symphony X, Soilwork. I've always been a massive fan of Soilwork. Children of Bodom. Been on a massive Lamb of God binge at the moment. Just
new album coming out next week.
Yeah, well, they got the new album coming out, so got to get ready. So just been on, pretty much changed what I'm listening to. Like I change my underwear once a month. No, like daily.
Look at that, Jen.
Just checking if everyone's listening.
I remember on tour, you can you can spin it around and you can go inside. You can get 4 days.
Yeah, you can.
I can. When you're in Latvia, you kind of have to.
Yes, you've done a European tour. Like, would you do one again? Like, what was ace about it, and what was something to be aware of as a learning for next time?
That you don't always have a washing machine.
It was pretty amazing, and yes, I would do it again. I don't know. I think it would be different. I don't think we had like phone reception or anything like that. So we woke up in different locations, not really knowing where we were.
Yeah,
like we had the itinerary and stuff, but we weren't always parked at the venue when we woke up the next day. and we would just get up and we'd be like,
go for a walk.
So should we go for a walk? Because is the bus going to still move? Where are we? What country are we in? Like it became a little bit of a blur in that sense.
Yeah.
And there was no way to prepare for that either. Like you couldn't go, oh yeah, this is going to be our itinerary, because sometimes it changed. And it just depended as to where the bus was allowed to park, because they were big units, you know, like you couldn't just pull up out the front of Hi-Fi Bar and just stay there all day like Max Watts or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
That would be a no-go in Madrid where you couldn't even park the bus, you know, like, so it was just very unusual to kind of wake up and you're just kind of a little bit, what do we do? Like,
okay,
where are we?
Was there a shower on the bus? Is that where you had your shower and stuff, or did you have to go off-site for that?
Yeah, shower was in the venue.
No pooping either. No pooping on the bus.
Oh, what?
You got to clench the cheeks.
So again, like with showering, you had to go off-site to do your do.
It was in the venue. Every venue had a shower. So all the venues in Europe have facilities like showers. They bring you towels to your dressing room. It's kind of like your mini stay. You get off, you take your bag in with you, and you've got your bathroom, shower, everything there.
Wow, but you sleep on the bus, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow, mind blown. I didn't even know this stuff. Clearly, I've never toured Europe. What would you do differently? Is there something you bring or adjust to next time?
I think I think we got one international SIM card just for contact and stuff in between the tour manager. And I think I had that, but didn't even really use it. Like, I think differently, maybe everyone get everyone connected so that we could also just feel a little bit more, I don't know, Carl's like, no, I'm good, I just want to wander. We went somewhere, I can't remember where it was, Spain, I think, and we went wandering and we needed to get back to the venue, and we got in a cab and we had the tour itinerary with us, and we said, go to this venue, and we went there and they're like, here it is, and we're like, this is not the right one, because the venue had changed, but we just left. Like, so we just left the bus and off we went, and we didn't know where we were meant to be. So we just, luckily that cab driver, we were like, but this is not the venue. And so the cab driver talked us through where the venues might be. And we ended up, luckily the bus was parked at that venue, but it was, it's a bit, sorry?
That's hectic.
Yeah.
I'd be terrified. I'd be pooping if I didn't know where I was.
It was just kind of.
What was that, Carl?
You're allowed to, because you're not on the bus. You just can't poop when you're on the bus.
I'd be actually really scared though if I was in the cab going to a venue that apparently is not the venue, and I'm in Spain or somewhere. I'd be like, oh my God, what do I do?
You kind of really just had to let go, because it was the tour was organised there for you. You weren't in control of it, you know, like you weren't in control of when the food came out. You weren't in control of like when you stopped to go have a shower, or, you know, where the shower was or what was happening or anything. You weren't in control of anything. So you just had to kind of let go and let it happen.
Yeah, right.
So that otherwise, if you were like trying to control the whole situation, you'd be just in a mess because it wasn't controllable.
What's your thought, Carl? Have you changed anything?
I'd pack more underwear.
Every 4 days wasn't enough?
No, like I had more cables. I thought cables were going to die, like wireless packs. I had all the gear. Like my suitcase was literally, you know, like a 15-to-1 ratio, like cable spares to jocks, you know. So my 30 kilos was all metal stuff. But I remember having to go to buy underwear in like whatever their supermarket in Estonia, and because I think I forgot a toothbrush too. So I had to buy a toothbrush and like a pair of underwear, and they only had these fluoro underwear. And I just remember standing in queue at their version of a 7-Eleven, I guess, and this old lady holding her milk and bread just looking at me with this one toothbrush and like 4 packs of brightly coloured underwear. That were like 2 sizes too small. It was so bad. So
You get what you get, and you don't get upset.
Just pack more underwear, seriously.
It's funny. I actually bought a whole nother stage outfit exactly the same for Europe.
Oh, really?
Because I thought that might be an issue, and my my stage outfit was quite delicate, and I didn't want to be hand washing every day. So I bought, and also I didn't want to go on stage in wet clothes because also drying stuff, and so I bought another one exactly the same, so that I would be able to kind of put them on rotation when one was kind of getting cleaned, or if something happened, I would always have something to wear.
None of that. Straight on with the wet clothes.
So Carl forgot his underwear, so you know.
Sometimes you got to go without. But I had spare cables. It's all right.
Well, as long as you had cables, Carl, that's all that matters.
Always be prepared.
Yeah. For the 40-minute show, not for the other 23 hours and 20 minutes of the day.
Details.
Priorities in life, mate. You know what's important to you. You'll do that.
I thought I did, but I didn't. I'll admit when I'm wrong.
Well, speaking of some funnier sort of stuff, I'm not sure if you've got any sort of side content that you produce, Jen, but Karl, you have String Theory Studios, and of late you've been doing some interesting remote learning videos. So just to completely change gears on you, what was you thinking behind that?
Pretty much the same as the underwear thing. I wasn't thinking. When we were chatting before actually, to take a step back, I literally started that stuff because when we started tracking all the album, stuff at home at our own studios, I kind of didn't want to call it Karl's lounge room or Karl's bedroom. I wanted to sound professional because we're a professional band. So we just came up with a name, and I went, I might make a few kind of pages, and also it makes it hard for the kids to find me that I teach. So it's a bit of an alien kind of thing. But recently, like before, we were talking about before the interview started, we were chatting about the department and kind of what it's like and how the politicians all promise things.
Yeah.
So the videos were a bit of a parody, a bit of how I see it playing out, with a bit of my sick, twisted humour involved. What it was like to work at home, what it's like, what it's going to be like to go back, using the guidelines and the policies that we've been given. So I don't know, there's a lot of negativity in the world. There's a lot of people that were at work that I work with who are always very stressed and anxious. And I thought it'd be have a bit of fun. Like, you can't control it, so you might as well have a laugh.
Yeah.
That's literally my thinking behind it. And I was only going to do the yard duty one because I thought it was pretty funny at the time. And then I did it, and the principal sent it out to everybody and said, "When's the next one?" I went, "Oh, I didn't think that far ahead."
Currently still employed.
Yeah, well, that's it. Wow, yeah, that's it. Actually, it's all in house, so it's a relative of Jason's, who's my boss. So it's handy. It's handy, But that's why the second one came along. I just thought I would have a bit of a dig at the meetings online, which run by the leaders.
So sorry, I missed the fucking memo here. Are these available for all to view, Andrew? Are they something you found that we could find?
I'll link you up, Nikki. They're just on YouTube or Karl's Facebook page as well. He's shared them on there.
Hook me up. I need a young beauty board.
They are available until, I guess, I'm no longer available. I don't know.
That's for a while then, hey?
It's there forever, so it doesn't matter anymore.
True.
Do you have any sort of side stuff that you do, Jen, that I'm not aware of, or is it just all okay? Karl's not.
Yeah, you do, girl. No girlfriend. What you got, Jen?
Not in terms of YouTube videos. But I've got an entertainment company, so we're in hibernation at the moment because it's it's entertainment's obviously all dropped off. But so I've been in children's entertainment for 10 years running the company, and maybe like doing it for 14 years now.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it takes up a lot of my time, but at the moment it's because it's so quiet. It's really nice, and I've probably been the most chilled that I've been in 14 years. But yeah, I actually really enjoy it, and yeah, it's just like singing and dancing with kids, doing birthday parties, doing school events, festivals, all different kinds of things like that. So, and also running school holiday workshops for kids, and helping self-confidence for them, performing, dancing, singing, acting. Yeah.
Cool.
Aww.
Really cool.
Interesting. Her line is kind of blurred between that job and being in the band, because it's basically like going to work when she's dealing with us.
Look after the kids.
Pretty much.
Entertain the kids.
Yeah. Pretty much what it's like in the studio.
Oh, that's really
This
cool.
is where the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 thing comes from. Now, obviously, we know that.
Yeah.
The nine's an addition.
Got to be unique.
So just getting back onto Divine Ascension and I guess your wider experiences in music. So Divine Ascension, as we covered off earlier, has been around since 2005. So you're coming on 15 years now in some way, shape or form. You've got 3 albums under your belt. There's a lot of, the tours and that. So what's sort of been the biggest change you've noticed over the years being involved in the music industry? And also, what was the biggest lesson you've learned so far to date as well?
Ooh. Ladies first, Jen.
Cool.
The
music industry.
He's thrown under the bus. He's thrown to you first. It's like, she can take the hard answer and I'll pick up the crumbs. Karl,
I'm good.
Because she's the one supervising the children, so.
Yeah, well, exactly right. I'm being chivalrous. Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's being chivalrous, Jen. He's being chivalrous.
Yeah. Well, that's my kind of past.
No.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's a very different it's a very different scene, the music industry, from when we started, and even just like CDs, like what that looks like, and when you sell CDs at gigs, and is everyone buying them and all of that kind of thing, like it's completely different. And even just to have an album now, an actual physical album, it's like, oh, cool, like I think and I don't actually really know where the music industry is heading and what's going to happen after COVID-19 as well. When we were recording Liberator, we were talking heavily on the music industry. There has to be a change, a shift to something, like something has to happen, because it's not a sustainable industry. And if you're talking about like musicians, even in the 90s, you were able to make money off music, like now it's impossible. So you've got all these musicians like working really, really hard behind the scenes and, writing albums, perfecting their craft, pumping their money into it to get off the ground, to tour, to do all of that kind of stuff, not selling albums, barely even making any money off streaming. There has to be a shift. So not only has there already been a massive shift from when music started to get downloaded when we were kind of starting out, that massive shift, there's something that has to change again. Not sure when that's going to happen, but yeah, because it's certainly not musicians that are making money off music. For me, the biggest thing that I've learned is to trust my instincts, and to not take those bad reviews to heart, because they sometimes can, you put so much hours and work into what you do. And for me, I like to say that I'm proud of the product at the end of the day. Yeah, there are things that I may change, but at the end of the day, I'm super happy with what we've produced so far. Don't regret a second of it. And so then when you have someone that, writes a review and says, did one spin of the album and it's crap, you kind of go, whoa, ouch. Like it's hard to not take on that personally, like and you start to question yourself and think if you just have lost complete touch of reality, you know, like it's quite a journey. So I think it's just trusting what you do and what you love is so important, and to not let everything else get in the way.
Yeah.
Completely agree with that.
All right, moving on.
You don't get to be on the interchange bench and not come on. You got to have your say in this one.
I tried really hard to keep a straight face too to make it believable. Even my news presenter voice. Moving on now for today's weather. You know.
Yeah.
And now we're hearing from Karl.
Yeah. Anyway. Over to you. Oh, that way. Brady Bunch theme cue right here. Something that I've learned, and something that what was the second one? Something that I've learned, something that I've changed.
Basically, the biggest lesson you've learned, and what the biggest change you've seen over the years.
I guess something that I've learned is to kind of like what Jen said with learning to trust yourself, but more so focus on the reasons why you're doing it. So, putting in layman's term, not caring, I guess, is probably something. So not caring about that bad review, not caring that someone says that music is too heavy or too progressive or whatever. It's never going to make something. It's not about them. It's not about, their situation. We're doing it because we enjoy it.
Yep.
That's primarily the day we stop enjoying it will be the day we stop doing it. That's basically something that I would have learned originally. When you first start out, you're trying to impress everybody. You're trying to, you want to be popular, I guess, with the people inside that inner circle. Now so much. Now I probably wouldn't worry about that so much. I don't really care as much. It sounds horrible, but it's true. We're doing our thing, and that's all that matters. Probably the biggest shift, I don't know, in the music industry, it was different back then. It's still changing now, and I was unsure about how it was moving forward then, and I'm still unsure about it moving now. So that stayed constant. It seems to always be evolving. I don't know. My idea of the change itself, something that I would change personally, would probably be, again, related to what Jen's saying. Don't, if I could say something back to my younger self, would be don't think you're going to make money from this, because it's not going to happen. You look at all the big acts; they've all got a side hustle, and I think that's something that's changed in the industry itself. Like Jen said, everybody, when we first started, had this idea that we could make some money from this one day if we're lucky enough. I don't have any delusions about that now. All the people that we look up to have their own side hustles. You look at anybody, the guitar player from The Haunted, Ola Englund, he makes more money from his guitar brand and his YouTube channel than he does in the band.
Yeah, right.
All these people do these side hustle things. So that's probably the change that I've noticed.
Yeah.
That probably was there originally, but I just never noticed it. I was too young and starry-eyed and had all these ideas in my head, and I still do. Just keep them to myself.
I think there's over the years, music obviously has evolved quite a lot, and especially the internet. As soon as the internet came into play, everything changed. So
put the genie back in the bottle now.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, I think we're so lucky in a way that we have so much access to amazing music from around the world, and it's really opened up everyone's eyes to what is available and what's out there. And as musicians, you understand and see music styles from all over the world, and all these different styles evolving, getting influenced from other cultures. On the other hand, it makes it really, really hard for musicians to make a living, because you don't have to go out to a club to then go buy the CD, to go buy the vinyl, to go see the band live. You can just watch them on YouTube.
Yeah, I agree.
But if you're not there, then you lose out on the market share that's diminishing anyway. So you have to be there. It's just you're at the mercy of what everyone else is doing at the same time.
Yeah. I try not to look at those negatives. Because like I said, they're always there. I try to look at the positives. Like, you look at what the internet has brought us. It's given us record deals. It's given us, a European tour. I mean, we're here talking to you guys again
because of the internet,
free, and we're talking about writing album number 4.
Yeah.
I don't think we would be in that or in this position if the internet wasn't here.
Yeah.
That negativity and the thing that brought those negative things, you know, if that wasn't there, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah. No, I try and view it more of a positive than a negative by a long way. That the opportunities it brings outweigh the things that have been taken away, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Every market shifts.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people just focus on that negative thing. Oh, it's not the same as it used to be. It's not the same as it used to be. Well, yeah, but there's also some good things that have come from it.
And what has stayed the same for all time? Nothing stays forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. Exactly right.
Everything evolves.
Makes people more hungry. It gives accessibility. So that's why there's so much great music. I don't know about you guys, but I'm always listening to something new.
Yeah.
That was like that, 20, 30 years ago. Not everyone could afford to go to the studio.
No.
Everybody can record something.
Well, you can do it at home on your phone.
Even Jen's solo bottle song.
Yeah. It is. It's just one of a kind.
Yeah. We're going to do that.
All right. So, Nikki, I'm going to start to sort of wind up. Have you got anything that you'd like to throw in before we start to get toward the back end of this?
No, I think I've pretty much covered most of my questions. The only question I'm looking at that I can't see that I've had answered is forget COVID-19 and everything that's going crap with the world. Let's just wave our magic wands and pretend everything's amazing. You get a call, it's your favourite band, they want you as support act. Who is the favourite band and what country are you touring and why?
That's like a fiver question in one. That's a shifty one.
Who is your favourite band? What country are you touring and why?
Yeah. See, Jen gets it. She's picking it down.
Mine would be a more kind of strategic decision, I think, like a business decision, because I think for us to pick up everything like we did before and travel overseas, then it doesn't just have to be a band that we like. It has to also be a band that's going to match us well, because we have to leave our jobs. You know, like we have to leave our families, we have to leave our jobs, we've got mortgages, we've got, all the normal people stuff. And we have to, in the reality of it, it would, for me, be a strategic decision. So no-brainers would be any female, like, kind of fronted band, which that word's becoming a little bit, obsolete actually at the moment. Like people are starting to talk about that term female fronted and whether it should or shouldn't be there. But I think, like there are a lot of people that like female vocals fronting metal. It's different. It's a different sound. And I think
it's not the majority either. I mean, I know it's growing and also stuff, but it's still, when you think about metal music, it's still not the majority. And it's just an observational point, not to be a negative.
Yeah.
So and I think Nightwish or someone like that.
Well, Nightwish, like Within Temptation, Lacuna Coil, Delane,
Essence.
Evanescence. Pardon?
They play bigger stadiums.
So for you, it's very strategic. It's like, all right, if I'm going to sacrifice my normal life here to pursue a goal, what's going to get me the biggest bang for buck? What's logical? Where am I going to get the most impact to go on what I want to get from it?
And that's how it has to kind of be at this stage, So when if you go back 15 years ago, or even a little bit less actually, probably, like when we released our first album, we were younger and we had less things and less commitments going on in our lives, and it was easier to pick up and go. But as you kind of mature through things, you've got to make the decision based around not just that selfish thing of I want to go and do music in my world. You've got to make a decision on how that's going to impact your family and your life.
Yeah. Cool. Wasn't the answer I was expecting, but I appreciate the honesty. That's really cool. I really appreciate that. Karl, oh, sorry, go, Jen.
Locations, I'll go anywhere. I really like travel, so.
You take me anywhere.
as long as we're on the right band, have band will travel kind of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that. That was not actually what I was expecting when I asked that question. I had an idea in my head. I love that you gave me something different.
And she ran away.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, low power mode.
Ah, okay. There we go. You're back.
Okay, Karl. So you could go anywhere, wave the magic wand. There's no bullshit going on in the world. What band and why? What country?
I've got 3 places that I've always wanted to play. So that one of them was one. Well, actually, they're all pretty much the ones we've spoken about that we wanted to play. So one was Japan.
Yeah.
Played in Japan. Another one was Scandinavia. I wanted to play in Scandinavia, so like Finland, Swedish kind of places.
Yep.
And the other place, and I guess this is just a single kind of festival that I've always wanted to play since I was a kid, was Wacken.
Yeah.
So, one of those would be probably where I'd go next. Japan would make probably the most sense because it's close and cheaper.
Yeah.
And a dense population. But any of those 3 wouldn't faze me. And if it was a band that called me up, preferably one that speaks English, like bing bing, hey, they invite you to come play here, and you can't hear where they're asking you to play. So I guess I don't think it really matters, to be honest, to me, as long as it's someone that I could get along with for 6 weeks or 1 week. However,
but there's no band out there that you just idolise and admire, and just your world would be made if they said, "Hey, come and be our support act on our tour."
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's one particular band or even a group of acts. Most of the bands that I've seen live or I've witnessed them playing, that's pretty much what it's like to be on tour every night. You get to see them play live. I don't really know if they'd be nice people or not. There's not like one band in particular that I'd like to tour with.
Okay.
I take any opportunity, really.
Yeah, fair call.
I guess maybe not Taylor Swift.
What's wrong with Tay-Tay?
She knows how to use the social media though really damn well. So
yes, I feel like she'd be hitting on me the whole time. That'd just get really uncomfortable.
And then she write a song about you up, which what happened.
Well, I just feel like it'd be this negative kind of aura on the tour. We're there to do a job.
Hey, if it's good enough for Def Leppard, it's good enough for Divine Ascension, just saying.
Maybe she wasn't a good choice. Maybe, I don't know, Bad Baby I wouldn't tour with.
Don't even know who that is, but okay.
That's your homework.
Yeah.
Ask Paris. I'm making notes.
I don't think it's even spelt the same. Maybe that's the song name. I don't know.
BHED something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. So before we start to get right down to closing it off, if there's anything you'd like to say that we haven't covered off or that you'd like to say to the audience out there, you've got a platform here that we're helping you to put out. So if there's anything you'd like to say, then open floor to you guys right now.
Jen and I are looking at each other going, who's going first? Oh, me. First things first, I'd say thank you guys very much for having us on.
No, our pleasure.
It's like we do, you do it purely for the love of what you do in music. So it's a real privilege to come back for me and have a chat. It's good to see you guys again, but thank you very, very much. Yeah. And I guess anybody who's listening or watching and has put up with us for the last half an hour and who's still here listening and watching, firstly, sorry. And secondly, thank you very, very much for following us, taking interest in what we do. Like I said, we started because we enjoy what we do, and having people enjoy it too, and so much so that they're still following us after 3 albums, still putting up with my crap after 3 albums is really testament.
Cool. All right, Jen, your turn. Now follow that up.
Yeah, well, thanks, guys, for having us. This is my first time on the Hard Rock Show, so absolute privilege to be here. And even though I was late, that you guys didn't even hold it against me or anything. So that was really nice of you, because if it was reversed, I'd be like, guys, come on, what are you doing? You guys were super nice about that, so that was really good. My fault there. But yeah, thanks to everyone that's decided to tune in, watch and sit through all of this. Quite impressive if you have. And yeah, if you haven't yet heard the uncovering, we'd love to know what you think, because you know, we're just writing music that we love to write, and we are starting to write the next album at the moment. And you know, what's your favorite album? Is it Liberator? Is it Uncovering? Is it the first album, As the Truth Appears? And we're growing as a band, and hopefully the next album that we bring out, I'd like it to be showcasing something else and something different again. So yeah, always love to hear feedback, good and bad, and if we have to ignore the bad, we will, so that we can keep moving forward.
Hate mail to Jennifer Borg at blah blah blah.
Yep, that's not an email address. It's Karl. String theory.
All right. So I know it's very hard to plan anything at the moment with the world being the way it is, but just sort of what is your, whatever you can say, what do you think is the planning, or what you're hoping to get out of the next sort of window of time, year or two, whatever it is? What do you think you're hoping to get done in that period?
Ooh.
Hoping to get a new album.
Yeah. We haven't spoken about this, so lucky we're on the same page here. Yeah, I reckon new album, but I don't know when, like exactly. Yeah, I don't know when.
I think it's just up to the creativity to flow, you know, like, and for it all to come together. So sometimes it, you know, writing a song happens really quickly, and sometimes it just doesn't. So, you know, it could come together in a year, hopefully. And then, yeah, I suppose we just have to roll with the punches and see what happens. But I'm constantly writing at the moment, but not everything is good. So, and I think one thing that we have is we're very critical of our writing, and we like to pull it apart, put it back together, and then do it again to try and get the best out of our stuff. So, yeah, it takes as long as it takes.
Yep.
We're okay with that too.
New album 2025.
Look, I think you're setting some expectations here, Karl, and
just in time for your 20th anniversary, then.
20th anniversary, God.
I know, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it makes it interesting for you, doesn't it?
No, that's interesting. That's one way to look at it. Wow, 20 years.
Okay. Also, Karl's been sporting a beanie, and these beanies are available for purchase on our website. I honestly, my motivation is I need some room in my garage. So if you guys want to buy some beanies, then it will free up some space in my garage for the next lot of merch. So bye for winter. It'll keep your ears warm.
Get warm. Get some of that. Get some. I need some. I'll buy some.
All right, there you go. You made one sale at least.
Awesome. All right. We'll hook you up.
So I did preface this with you guys toward the beginning of this interview, and that is the bin. So now it's the fun time of the week where you get to put something into the bin. So what's pissed you off? What's going to go in the bin? Who wants to go first on this one? Are we going to throw to Nikki for a first off on this? So all right, you Nikki, you take.
Go on.
Okay. All right. I want to talk about the Black Lives Matter protests. Black Lives Matter. They 100% do. Not even a question, not even a thing. And I'm absolutely not going to insult someone by saying all lives matter. I'm not going down that road. Fuck you. If you don't understand what it means, fuck off. My thing I have is, if you want to go to the protest to make a stand, to have a voice, to create awareness, to make a difference, to stop the violence, I am 100% for that. Do it. If you want to go to the protest so you can take a selfie and say, look at me, I did something, fuck off, you missed the point. I I'm sorry. Fuck you and your fucking protest selfies. If you're at the protest and you're taking photos of what's going on around you as a social awareness and a consciousness, that's great. I support that. Do not do a look at me, I made a difference thing. Fuck off. That's in the bin. It's not about you. It's bigger than you. You're either there for the right reason or you're there to have a photo moment. Fuck off. Don't devalue what this is actually about. In the bin.
Well done. I was wrong. I agree with you, Nikki. Well done. I completely concur with that. So now, which one of our two guests is going to go first on who's handballing to who?
That's a tough act to follow. Can I stick my head in the bin while I think about it? I don't know, Jen, do you have one? Because I do have one, but I don't know if I can follow up the one we just had. I actually have two.
Oh.
Yeah. I can go.
Yeah.
So the first one is a situation which I may or may not have created myself like 3 years ago. But now it's at the point where I can't really do anything about it. So maybe this actual interview could solve it for me. It could actually be So I work, with a large number of staff, and there is a particular staff member who thinks my name is different to what it is.
Hello?
They think my name is actually, funnily enough, Jason. And it may have...
Jason Close?
Well, so this individual, I think what happened, I've reflected upon it about 3 years ago when I started working at this place, a little bit over now. I think they said, hi, Jason. And I must have been so busy and not really focused on what I was doing my own thing, that I just kind of went, hi, and just kept walking kind of thing. And ever since that point, they call me Jason. Now it's gotten really awkward because I'll be in like a common area with all the staff, and they'll be in there fixing something, and I'll go and print something, and they'll say, hi, Jason, how are you? And then the other staff members kind of do the whole, what?
Who's the new guy, Jason?
Yeah, but now it's been going on for like 3 years. It's past the point where I can actually say, well, you've been calling me Jason for 3 years. I can't. My name's actually Karl.
You've gone too far. You can't do it now.
But it's gotten worse. In the last week, they got my staff computer, and it actually has my name in it because it's like staff, allocated. And they actually fixed something on there for me. So they've seen my name on my computer and still call me Jason. So I'd like to throw that situation in the bin because I don't know how else I can deal with it.
Maybe they've been calling you for 3 years.
You can't even say, oh, by the way, it's Karl, because I'd be like, what the fuck, dickhead? For 3 years you didn't bother letting me know?
I know. It's either that or they think I'm joking and keep calling me Jason.
That's true too, yeah. Or they won't believe you.
So
that's awkward.
Yeah, I know. So that awkward situation, that can go in the bin. Wait, where's the bin? Is it underneath me or that way?
It's to either side.
So I get
that way.
In the bin.
Yeah, what you did.
How good would it be if something flew out at that time?
I'll see if I can do something in post-production, but I don't hold it.
Yeah.
Right, so I said I had two things. I'm being a bit greedy. The other thing that's really, really simple. When you tie your shoelaces and one's tighter than the other? Yep. Yeah, that's going in the bin.
As someone who's OCD, I'm actually going to back you on that. I'm very OCD with symmetry. I'll pay that.
Yeah, it's not even like an OCD thing. It's just uncomfortable. And then you try to adjust it and you can never get it the same. There's always one that's tighter than the other. Yep, don't like it.
Very cool.
Get in the bin. Chuck me shoe in the bin. Well, that's a slipper, but you know what I mean.
Blue slipper. Hilarious.
That actually features in my videos. So it's
yeah, you got to watch it, Nikki.
So watching his videos.
All right,
your turn. What have you got?
Well, before that, I thought Karl was going to handball it back to me, and I was about to say I've changed my thing, and I want to put the handball in the bin because. But he didn't handball it. He took it. He took it on. I respect that. That's fine. Okay. So my new in the bin thing. I've got two things that were actually really frustrating me, and they're both from today. The first is I'm an avid coffee drinker. I love coffee, and I literally have to have one in the morning. Otherwise, I'm very grumpy. Coffee espresso machine broke. Oh. That is literally going in the bin. I am so angry. But I've ordered a new one, so it's okay, and peace will be restored soon. And the second thing,
the car for a few weeks.
Yeah.
No rehearsals.
The second thing is Zoom. Oh my gosh, I was trying to log in, and now I'm on my phone and I can't see you guys properly, which is annoying me as well. So I'm going to put the whole Zoom thing in the bin.
Well, it's working 5 for 3 out of 4, so I'll take that as a win.
I'm not blaming you, Andrew. I'm blaming Zoom.
Okay.
Or maybe my computer. It could be my computer.
Yeah.
Probably my computer.
Your hard rubbish is going to be really full at the end of the week, isn't it?
Well, give me the opportunity. You know, it's just I don't get to vent much. So.
No, that's the point. All right, so for mine, I tend to rant with these ones, but I'll keep it short, sharp, to the point, and that is people like Donald Trump and Scott Morris and anyone else that tries to be flippant or deliberately inflammatory when it comes to things like what's happening at the moment. Those two clowns in here take it seriously. One of the biggest things that I've seen being an avid American sports follower is when the NFL come out and say, oops, we fucked up, we were wrong. When the NFL come out and say that, who they never, ever say that, there's a big shift in society happening, especially over there. So get with the program or get off the fucking bus and let someone else take the reins who will do something about it. That's what I've got to put in the bin there. That's my point of view. So that's that.
Imagine if they were in the bin. I wonder what they'd do in there.
Can you imagine Trump tweeting out of this? Like,
can you motivation like your Twitter post?
I'm not in the bin.
Yeah. Ooh, I want to try that. I want to try that.
Not being in Melbourne, Victoria.
Yeah, I'll make a fake location called The Bin.
Yeah.
And
coming to you right from the bin.
That'd be all. I'm going to have to look into that for sure. So when I'm linking Nikki up with these videos of yours, I'll be looking into making a fake location for Twitter. So
Well, if you get it, I'll take a photo of my shoes when my shoelaces are not working, and I'll post it in the bin.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That sounds like a plan.
Do you want a photo of my coffee machine or?
Yeah, wait.
Or
photo of the coffee machine.
All right.
Inside the mocker.
It's a very sad time.
And so, Nikki, you can send us some offending selfies from protests, and we'll make a montage of this stuff or a collage.
Well, obviously, there are people I know, so I might have to be careful there.
No, I can use blurred images. It'll be all right.
Yeah, all right. Cool. Fuck it, piss me off. I'm down.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you both so much for taking the time to do it, and to Nikki as well for taking the time out of her schedule for being a part of this one tonight as well. And this may well be our last interview for TV while I'm at it too. I don't know. It depends on what happens with community TV. So that's another one going to be into the stopping and airing of community TV. But very, very cool to have you both on the show. First time for Jen, second time for Karl. It's good to meet new people and reacquaint friendships once again. So thank you to you both, and to everyone sticking around and watching this nonsense. If you're watching the full video online for a couple of hours, then you've done very well. But that's it from me, and that's it from us. So I guess say your farewell, and we'll move along, I guess.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, you two. You've both been amazing. I've loved it. It's been awesome.
It's been a hoot.
My pleasure. I didn't have to go very far either. It was the best.
And Marie Castro.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
I think that's the perfect one to sign off. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.